Being the ultimate powerhouse gets boring fast, and the Demon Lord Varvatos knows it all too well. Tired of crushing everything in his path and yawning through life, he decides to shake things up and reincarnates himself. His plan? Tone down his insane power to be just average this time around. But plot twist? Everyone in the modern world is weak as a wet noodle. So he ends up ridiculously overpowered all over again. Reborn as Ard, he's now dealing with a whole new set of problems. Ladies won't stop swooning over him. The royal family is basically throwing a crown at him. And one of his old underlings has a personal vendetta to settle. But Ard, he's laser focused on his one big goal, and nothing is going to get in his way. Overpowered or not, he's got plans, and the world better brace itself. Demon Lord Varvatos is so ridiculously powerful that he's basically a god. And after a while, it gets kind of boring when no one sees you as human anymore. So, what does he do? He pulls off a grand plan to get someone to defeat him. Spoiler, there's no one strong enough, so he just goes for the ultimate reset button, a reincarnation magic. He's reborn as a regular kid named Ard Meteord, born to a totally normal family, the kind that doesn't even know what a demon lord is. Fast forward to Ard's 10th birthday, and his new life isn't exactly off to a stellar start. Magic is a bit of a dying art in his new world, but hey, at least he's got muscles. His new body is seriously athletic, and he's super strong. When his parents ask him what he wants to do with his life, he only wants to make some friends, which is adorable until he tries. First, he tries to befriend a group of boys. Fail. Then he moves on to some girls. Fail again. So what does he do? He gets mad and totally wrecks a forest near his house. Yup, full-on rage mode. Just when he's sitting on the doorstep trying to cool down, in walks the mayor, Olheide. Advise him how to make friends. Be kind and respectful. Ard's all pumped up and goes back out there with his new friendly attitude, but still fails. His attempts to bond just don't land, and he's back to square one. Ard hears some random chick screaming in the forest. He zooms over, thinking he's about to save the day. Turns out, it's an elf girl fighting an ancient wolf. After some dramatic inspection, he realizes she's just letting off some steam. After the battle's over, Ard tries to compliment her on her skills, but his words are more awkward than helpful. So he just cuts to the chase and asks if he can be his friend, and she runs off crying. Meanwhile, Ard's parents are chatting it up with Olheide, and we learn that the elf girl, turns out her name's Irena, has been kind of a loner because she's been dealing with bullying and nasty gossip. Back in the forest, Ard is still trying to process his failure when he runs into Irena again. Now, he's determined to get it right, so he tries being even more considerate. Spoiler, total flop. Then a goblin invasion hits the town. Ard's dad, Jack, drops some serious dad wisdom, explaining that it's all because of a messed up dungeon core. Olheide drops a bombshell, telling them that Irena is somewhere out in the mountains. Ard goes into full guilt mode, thinking he messed things up with her. He flies out to find her, surrounded by goblins. So, Ard goes full hero mode, wipes out the goblins like it's nothing, and rescues Irena. Jack and his wife, Carla, deal with the goblins in the town. Irena's dad, Olheide, isn't even worried, saying his daughter is fine. At the end of all this madness, Irena and Ard finally have their heart-to-heart, agreed to be his friend. Fast forward a few years, and Irena shows up in Ard's bed, being all bold, saying that they should go to the Academy of Magic together. Ard and Irena heads into Laville National Academy of Magic to meet Headmaster Golday, who, by the way, is all polite and proper, but also kind of making it clear that these kids are a big deal. Ard gets off easy because, he totally wrecked some monsters when he was a kid, so he gets a free pass on the practical entrance exam. But there's still the written part, and Ard's is up to the challenge. Well, surprise, he bombs the test. Like, total fail. But here's the twist. His answers? They're way ahead of their time. In fact, these answers are so advanced, they're gonna change the entire field of magic. Golday's not done, though. He announces to the whole school that Ard's not just some random genius, but the son of the legendary mage Jack and warrior Carla, who, by the way, once took down an evil god named Dicase. And of course, Ard is embarrassed because now the entire school's staring at him. Later, Ard and Irena are wandering down a hallway, chatting about their famous parents. They finally make it to their classroom, and suddenly, every student in the room wants to be friends with them. Well, almost everyone. There's a group of snobby students who just can't be bothered to be nice. Then, things take a weird turn when they see a succubus girl getting bullied by this pompous, noble kid, Elrado. Ard steps in, demanding Elrado apologize. Of course, as arrogant he is, Elrado challenges Ard to a duel. Irena, meanwhile, recognizes Elrado as a big shot. He's already a mage square at a super young age, which is like, that's a lot. Before the duel can kick off, Olivia, the teacher, shows up, looking like she's already not impressed. She asks if Ard caused all this ruckus. And of course, Ard is panicking internally, hoping she doesn't realize he's the reincarnation of a demon lord. But hey, Olivia's cool with it and lets the duel happen. Outside, Ard's stressing out, trying to to figure out how to fight El Rado without blowing his cover. The duel starts, and El Rado starts blasting him with flare spells like he's trying to start a bonfire. Ard encounters each one with magic shield. Finally, Ard busts out a massive Giga Flare spell, completely destroying El Rado. Afterward, Irena forces El Rado to keep his word and apologize to the succubus girl. The next day, Olivia starts teaching class, and she's all business, breaking the students into groups for a dungeon mission. Irena notices that Ginny's all alone and asks Ard if they can team up with her. Of course, Ard agrees, and so the trio gets together. But things take another weird turn when Olivia asks Ard if a simple task like hunting a black wolf is going to be too easy for him. Ard tries to push the group away before he says something else weird. Eventually, they run into a pack of black wolves, and Ard and Irena blast them with flare spells. But surprise, the wolves are too burned to skin, so now the group's stuck with nothing to show for it. Ginny gets all down on herself, thinking she's useless, while Ard tries to cheer up Ginny, the girl who was bullied, by offering her some personal magic lessons. She's a bit shy about it, but eventually agrees. Spoiler, she's no match for Ard's magical skill, and she gets super down about it. But then, Ard pulls out a new magic technique he invented called script magic. He shows it to both Irena and Ginny, and with a little practice, Ginny masters it like a pro. So, the trio falls into a trapdoor classic dungeon shenanigan and ends up on a level with a minotaur. Ard's thought he might as well teach these girls some more magic and lets Ginny take the lead in defeating the minotaur using her newly acquired skills. Back at the surface, they turn in the minotaur's horns like it's no big deal. El Rado, of course, tries to act all high and mighty, saying Ard relied too much on the girls. Ginny's not having it though, and smacks him one good time, while Irena tops it off by shoving a basket of black wolf pelts over his head. It's the most satisfying moment of the day, honestly. Ard tries to sneak away, but of course, Olivia stops him, and now she's got some serious questions for him about how he was able to double cast spells during the duel. Ard, ever the expert at awkwardness, just stammers out some lame excuse. Gold and Olivia have a big ask for Ard. Join the student battle event? Except Ard's got zero interest. He shoots them down fast. Goldie, determined to change his mind, pulls out the big guns. This event could boost the school's budget. But Ard, nah, he's not budging, claiming it's against his aesthetics, whatever that means. Then Olivia chimes in with a wild card. She used to have a little brother who spouted the same nonsense until he reincarnated without asking her first. Ard, feeling slightly called out, mumbles that he'll think it over, but secretly starts weighing the fallout of saying no. Ginny, she strolls up and hits him with an unexpected proposal, a date. Ard's caught off guard but agrees, because why not? One condition though, she's got to drop the whole Mr. thing. Ginny refuses, but they compromise on her calling him Artie. Just as things get cozy, Irena crashes the scene, determined to tag along. Ginny's cool with it, saying she's not the possessive type, and even suggesting Ard start a harem. Irena, being blissfully unaware, asks what a harem is, and when Ginny explains, Irena nopes out of that idea faster than Ard noped out of the battle event. Fast forward to the actual date, and the game kicks things off with a play. But it's not just any play. It's about the Demon Lord Varvatos, aka Ard's past life. As they watch, Ginny and Irena casually cling to Ard, leaving him to suffer through the absurdly dramatized version of his previous life. After the play, Ginny leads the squad to grab food. On the way, Ard's keen ears pick up on some shady figures talking about the queen. This screams trouble, so they follow the sketchy crew into the sewers. Naturally, down there they stumble across a massive magic circle. And, surprise, it's a trap. Ard quickly deduces that the baddies want to capture them, but the leader flips the script by setting Ard on fire. Plot twist. Ard's totally fine. He nukes the magic circle, wipes out most of the bad guys, and leaves just the leader standing. Out of option. The leader hulks out into full-on demon mode and blasts a hole in the ceiling to make his escape. Ard chases him to the surface, where the demon takes a little girl hostage to cause a scene. Classic villain move. But Ard calmly reassures the panicking crowd, drops his dad's name for extra clout, and reveals the hostage is nothing but an illusion. With a little dramatic flair, he obliterates the demon with his Flash of Babel spell and is promptly hoisted into the air by the cheering crowd. Hero moment unlocked. The next day, Ard, Irena, and Ginny meet Queen Rosa. Turns out Irena knows the queen, which is only slightly surprising. Rosa, clearly impressed, offers to marry Ard right then and there. Ard shuts it down without a second thought and instead asks for more funding for his academy. Rosa, amused by his down-to-earth request, decides to give him both the title of Pentagon class and the budget boost. She also ropes Ard and Irena into becoming part of her elite team, the Queen's Shadow. Ginny doesn't leave empty-handed either. She's promoted to Triangle class. Meanwhile, back in Bad Guy headquarters, the cloaked villains are busy licking their wounds from their failed plan. But don't worry, they're confident their real scheme will work out. Golda is venting to instructor Jessica about Ard refusing to join the battle event. On top of that, the other teachers at the academy straight up rejected him from joining their ranks. Rough. But Jessica's all confident and tells Golda to chill because she's got this. Later Later that night, Art is lying in bed, deep in thought about Irena, when guess who shows up? Ginny, dressed to impress in a light skirt, and she's clearly got some ideas about how to get Ard's attention. She makes her move, but before Ard can even figure out what's happening, Irena storms into the room. Turns out she was already annoyed about earlier and decided to check on Ard, only to find him in this compromising situation. Chaos erupts. Irena starts throwing random objects at Ard, who has no idea what he did to deserve this. Well, he kinda knows. Ginny steps in to calm Irena down, but that only leads to an argument where Irena accuses Ginny of being the reason all these girls are flocking to Ard. Things get heated fast, and the two nearly challenge each other to a duel until Ard finally snaps and scolds them like a tired dad breaking up a fight between toddlers. He forces them to sit down and apologize, which they begrudgingly agree to do. Just as they're about to shake hands and call it a truce, Jessica kicks down the door like she's starring in an action movie. She suggests they settle their differences at the upcoming battle event, and, oh yeah, hints that this could also be Ard's ticket to becoming an instructor. At first, both girls hesitate, probably still stinging from Ard's earlier lecture. But Jessica seals the deal by hyping up the fancy uniforms instructors get to wear. And boom, they're in. The day of the battle event arrives, and the guest commentators are none other than Baron Weiss, Jack, Ard's dad, and Carla, Ard's mom. Weiss keeps it professional and polite, but Jack and Carla, absolute chaos. They treat the event like a roast session for their son, and Ard is dying of secondhand embarrassment. Meanwhile, Olivia casually mentions that someone named Alvardo is interested in training Irena and Ginny. Ard, clueless as ever, admits he has no idea who that is, and Olivia's just like, yeah, sure, you don't. Back in the arena, Irena's up next. She struggles at first to counter her opponent's spells, but pulls through by using some script magic Ard taught her. Victory! The matches roll on, and the finals come down to Irena versus Ginny. When Weiss is asked for his thoughts, he credits Irena's success to Ard's influence, which makes Ard cringe even harder. The match kicks off, but before they can even trade blows, demons crash the party. They pop out of the audience and start wreaking havoc everywhere. Jessica informs Ard and Olivia that the demons aren't just targeting the arena, they're attacking the whole area. Down in the chaos, Irena and Ginny team up to take out some of the demons, but struggle against a massive crystal golem. The baddie's conjured up. Luckily, Weiss steps in with his magic and obliterates the golem. But then, Jessica impales him with her hand. Yep, Jessica reveals herself as Elzard, the frenzied king of dragons. Elzard demands Irena come with her. Ginny tries to stop her with some spells, but Elzard just shrugs them off with a magic barrier. Then she knocks Ginny out like it's nothing. Left with no choice, Irena surrenders, and Elzard grabs her before flying out of the arena, leaving everyone stunned and scrambling to figure out what just happened. Weiss is in the school infirmary, getting patched up by Ard. When he wakes up, he told that Elzard, aka the frenzied dragon, has kidnapped Irena. Ard, being the unshakable hero he is, promises to save Irena and take down anyone or anything dumb enough to stand in his way. Weiss, impressed by Ard's confidence, gives him an all-access pass to the royal treasury. Just take what you want. Jack, ever the instigator, nudges Weiss to spill the beans to Ard about the deep, dark family secrets that explain why Irena's been so withdrawn. But Weiss hesitates, probably because this backstory comes with a whole lot of baggage. Meanwhile, Irena's having a not-so-great time. She dreams about her younger self spilling some big reveal to Ard, only for him to vanish, leaving her all alone. When she wakes up, things don't improve. She's trapped in a magical tube with her hands bound by some glowing red orb. Elzard comes in, who's absolutely reveling in her villain vibes. She explains that Irena's going to be sacrificed to summon the Orphan of Chaos, which will, in turn, bring a horde of evil gods to wreck the world. Why? Because Elzard's all about that destruction life. Irena, ever the optimist, insists Ard will come for her, but Elzard plays the psychological warfare card, claiming that if Ard knew her secret, he'd ditch her. The comment hits hard, especially since it lines up with her dream. Cut to Ard, who's gearing up for the rescue mission. Ginny shows up, eager to help, but Ard, ever the gentleman, asks her to prep dinner for when he gets back. He heads straight to Irena's location, arriving just as the Orphan of Chaos is about to chow down on her. With one swift move, Ard takes out the beast and lands dramatically, declaring his intention to annihilate everything standing in his way. Then an epic 9-cast spell wipes out the monsters and frees Irena. Elzard, watching the chaos from above, is highly entertained. She then revealed that Irena's last name, Olihide, is totally fake. Her real name is Laville, and she's got evil god blood running through her veins. Back at Weiss's manor, Weiss and Jack have their own little chat about how Weiss's family are the real rulers of the country, while the folks on the throne are just puppets. Back to the battlefield, Elzard is having a blast rubbing this this revelation in Ard's face. But Ard, he doesn't care. Not one bit. This only annoys Elzard, who launches a lightning attack, but Ard blocks it like it's nothing and counters by hurling his spear at her, causing her to explode. Seems like a win, right? Wrong. Elzard comes back in full dragon form, breathing a giant purple laser at Ard. He blocks it with a barrier and calmly asks Irena to look away. Ard summons Lydia Beginsgate, a golden lady who reinforces his magical barrier before turning into a broadsword at Weiss's command. Armed with Lydia's help, Ard enters phase 1 of the battle, holding his own against the rampaging dragon. Then it's time for phase 2. Ard upgrades his gear, gets some shiny new armor, and even changes his hair to a dramatic silver white. With his ultimate spell, Ultimum Zero, he finishes off Elzard in a blaze of glory. After the battle, Irena can't stop praising Ard and decides she's going to level up herself, because if you're rolling with Ard Meteor, you'd better be ready to keep up. Sliffy wraps up her so-called 3-year training session in the spooky Phantom Forest dungeon, eager to wow her sister Lydia with her new skills. But when she steps out into the world, she's hit with a massive culture shock. Wagons zooming by, shiny buildings, and way too much noise. Nearly pancaked by a couple of carriages, she ducks into an alley where a mysterious masked guy shows up. He told her that her little dungeon adventure didn't take 3 years, it took 3,000. Sliffy, naturally, plays it cool and pretends she totally knew that already. As they stroll along the city's river, the masked guy gives her a quick history lesson. Varvatos? Dead but reincarnated. And Lydia? Well, if she wants to know about Lydia's past or present, she should track down the reincarnation, aka Ard. Over at the academy, Golde has Ard, Irena, and Ginny in his office, pitching the school festival like a used car salesman. He wants them to help rake in some cash by joining in. The catch: Ard gets to skip the sword tournament but has to star in the school play instead. Oh, and by the way, there's a creepy letter written on human skin from a shadowy organization called Lars Al Ghul. No big deal, right? Golde ropes Ard into patrolling the festival grounds on top of acting duties, and, as if on cue, Ginny and Irena jump in to volunteer themselves too. Ard's suspicion meter pings. He's sure Olivia has some sneaky scheme behind all this. Then, chaos arrives in the form of Sliffy, who storms up to Ard, demanding answers about why he reincarnated and what happened to Lydia. Irena steps up to defend him, offering to duel Sliffy herself, but things get weird fast. Sliffy sees a bit of Lydia in Irena and awkwardly asks to be friends. Irena, in classic Irena fashion, shuts her down. The result? Duel time. Ard gets dragged into the fight instead, and they face off in a high-stakes magical showdown. It's neck and neck until Ard finally pulls off the win, but Sliffy, being Sliffy, refuses to accept defeat. She pulls out a magic sword and starts throwing around high-tier spells like candy. Just as things get out of hand, Olivia swoops in, shuts Sliffy down, and gives her an earful about wrecking the school. Irena jumps in too, channeling her inner Lydia, and lays on the guilt trip, making Sliffy tear up. The whole thing ends with Sliffy bawling into Irena's arms. Later, Ard sits down with the group assigned to the school play to brainstorm ideas. Sliffy's fiery attitude leads to a clash, with some snooty nobles bragging about how their class is going to rake in cash during the festival. Snooty nobles bragging about how their class is going to rake in cash during the festival. Never one to back down, puts them in their place, claiming her class will crush theirs. Back in the planning room, casting decisions are made. Ard gets the role of the Demon Lord, really fitting. Irena will play Lydia, and Sliffy gets the part of the evil god. As for the event theme, Ginny suggests a maid cafe, because of course she does. Meanwhile, watching all of this from the shadows is the masked guy from earlier, keeping tabs on everyone like some kind of magical stalker in another world. Ard and Irena take on the school festival undercover as a couple, though let's be real, they're actually on patrol because Lars Al Ghul decided to spice things up with a threat. The day takes a chaotic turn when Sliffy causes an explosion and accuses an old guy of being a demon. Olivia swoops in to smooth things over, insisting the old man is just a regular dude who taught her how to make fries. Classic Olivia. With Sliffy now excused from patrol duty, Irena ropes her into helping out with their class activity, and though Sliffy's not thrilled, she grudgingly agrees. Meanwhile, Ard and Irena focus on a giant tree that Ard claims holds a sealed treasure from the great sword king Laville. Intrigued, he asks Olivia if she knows what's hidden beneath it. Of course, Olivia can't spill the beans because of some mysterious circumstances. But hey, she did enter both herself and Ard into the festival's sword battle tournament, much to his dismay. Later, Ard swings by his class's maid cafe only to find Sliffy busting through a wall like she's auditioning for an action movie. Apparently, some guy crossed the line, and she wasn't having it. After diffusing the chaos, Ard reluctantly sits down for some maid service at Ginny's insistence. Things escalate quickly when Irena storms in, demanding Ard get back to patrolling. This, of course, triggers a showdown between Ginny, Irena, and Sliffy, which ends with Irena donning a maid outfit to serve Ard. Just as the dust starts to settle, an announcement rings out about the sword tournament and the prize, a replica of the legendary holy sword Valdgalgus. Naturally, Irena, Ginny, and Sliffy all declare their intentions to enter, each for very different reasons. Tournament day arrives, and the crowd is hyped for Ard Ard, Irena, and Olivia, the top contenders. Sliffy's not thrilled to see her competition hogging the spotlight, but the games begin anyway. The matches fly by, and Ard laments how hard it is to hold back without making Olivia think he's throwing the match. Meanwhile, Ginny obliterates her opponent with ease, earning applause from everyone, including her coach Ard. That's the end of the recap. Let us know if you want part 2 by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to avoid being virgin forever. See you guys in the next video.